Yo, what up, man? Welcome back to another episode of Damn YouTube Sports Talk. It's your boy Ralph Sneaks, live in effect, Atlanta, Georgia, man. Shout out to AIG Productions, making all this happen. Appreciate your support. Uh, like, share, subscribe to the content. Um, I got all my social media links posted where social media where you can find me on social media posted below. You want to follow my personal page is Ralph_Sneaks on IG. Also the sports page, damn_YouTube_sports talk. And if you want to go over to X or Twitter, you know what I mean, if you still call it that, it's damn YouTube sports talk over there. But we got another episode coming at you, man. We're gonna dive right into it, man. Had a few things happen over the weekend, man. First of all, I hope everybody had a solid weekend, safe, productive weekend. But a few things in the sports world happened. In the realm of the NBA, you had DeMar DeRozan landing over in Sacramento. So I can see you guys see. Yep, Sacramento received DeMar DeRozan. The Spurs received Harrison Barnes. Received Chris Duarte and 2 second-round picks. 3-team trade, obviously. I think if you Sacramento, you pretty much getting a veteran guy. And I think that's what they need over there. They need another veteran presence over there. Even though Harrison Barnes was a veteran presence, but I don't think Harrison Barnes is capable of scoring. He's never, in my opinion, been the type of scorer that DeMar DeRozan has. And DeMar DeRozan can still score the ball, and he brings veteran leadership. So I think that was much needed over there. If you are Sacramento, and I think he got him on a 3-year deal, 3 years, $78 million, something like that. Which I think that's a good move for Sacramento, and they didn't really lose anything. You know, a couple second-round picks and Harrison Barnes got you back DeMar DeRozan. You didn't lose any of your core guys that you want to keep. Obviously, and there was rumors of Kevin Huerter being on the trade block, but you did lose him. You did lose. Obviously, you didn't lose Fox. You didn't lose Murray. You didn't lose none of those other guys, those key guys. Somebody that was just a good addition all around for the Kings. And dumping off of Harrison Barnes to the Spurs was probably going to be some veteran leadership over there in San Antonio, and the Bulls just in a full-blown rebuild. I think that the Bulls are they about to demolition this thing. They, tearing it all down. For the exception of a couple guys that they're gonna, keep for the future, like Josh Giddey, who they obviously traded for, and they kept Kobe White around. So they still got to find a way to get off of Zach LaVine and his contract. There's rumor that they've been trying to add first round draft pick to move him, but nobody's biting. Hey, it's the contract, obviously. It's the issue for Zach LaVine. So, I don't know what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to get Alonzo Ball. They're going to get off of him. Zach LaVine going to get off of him. You still got Vucevic, the big man there. They're going to get off of him. I don't see them doing much of anything in the East other than using between now and the trade deadline to get off of some players that they don't want no longer on their roster moving forward, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to rebuild, and it's clear that's what they're doing. So I don't see Chicago doing much of nothing in the East except trying to move players off of their roster, being sellers, pretty much moving players off their roster that they don't want. So that's what's going on over there. Got that off. So if you're Sacramento, you gotta be static about that. Once again, the Lakers missed out on DeMar DeRozan. It's the second time they wanted DeMar DeRozan and didn't get him. The first time they pretty much could have had him, but they elected to go the Russell Westbrook route. You saw how that turned out. If Russell Westbrook was no longer there, he went across the hall to the Clippers. So they missed out on him again. So if you're the Clippers, if you're the Lakers, brother, you know what I'm saying? You got to be sitting there scratching your head trying to figure out what the hell is going on over here in LA. We can't get nobody. which really segues right into what I really want to get into. Does the NBA players have too much power and control? You're looking at a situation that they got over there in LA. Both LA franchises had a situation in which the player or players had a ton of power and control, and now it's compromised the future of them franchises to a big degree. You look at what's going on over there with the LA Lakers. LeBron James and Clutch Sports running the LA Lakers. There's no way in the hell you can sit here and tell me that the LA Lakers are on win now mode when you fired a guy and hired a guy with no head coaching experience. That's not a win now move. That's a power move for a bigger play that the guy that they hired is a part of, that the guy that they fired didn't want to be a part of or wasn't going to be a part of. So that's what's going on over there in LA. Then combined with the fact that you got Rich Paul, who reportedly called other teams and threatened them not to draft Bronny James because the Lakers were going to take him with the 55th pick in the second round. And that's what happened. They got a steal in the first round with Dalton Knecht, and then you come back and use your flex your power and control to get Bronny James with the 55th pick. And you saw how he looked over the weekend in Summer League. He hit his average, 4 points. Meanwhile, you had other guys, I can't remember his name right now, but I think he had like 32 points. Played for the Sacramento Kings. He had like 32 points, 11 boards, and 5 or 6 assists. And he got no talk time. Nobody talked about this guy, and he gave him 32, 11, and 5 in the Summer League debut for the Sacramento Kings. But all the highlight and all the talk was about Bronny James, who hit his average of 4 points. But this other guy that gave you 32, 11, and 5, got no talk, and they won the game. The Sacramento Kings won the game, and he still didn't get any talk about. He get talked about. They were running highlights. ESPN was running highlights of 4 points that Bronny James got. They ran highlights to show you 4 points that Bronny James got. Meanwhile, this other kid over there in Sacramento who dropped off 32 of them, 11 boards and 5 assists, and won the game. Didn't get no time. None. Then I think there was another kid that came off the bench for Sacramento in that same game. They gave you 20. They didn't talk about that at all. But instead, they ran the highlights and talked about Bronny James' 4 points. The same 4 points in the Summer League that he gave you at USC. He hit his average, 4 points. So you got that in LA. Combined with the moves, look at the players the Lakers had over there when LeBron came. Julius Randle was a former Laker. Brandon Ingram, a former Laker. Lonzo Ball, a former Laker. Josh Hart, a former Laker. Zubac, a former Laker. Lou Will, a former Laker. Kuzma was a former Laker. Jordan Clarkson was a former Laker. You had players over there, and look what those guys turned out to be after they left, for the exception of Lonzo, because Lonzo got bad knees, and he's still out. Lonzo ain't played in like 2 years. So for the exception of Lonzo, everybody else turned out to be pretty solid. So imagine if you had just kept that, and I get that you traded that for AD, and you did win a chip, but I'm of the mindset that you wouldn't have won that chip if COVID never happened. If COVID never happened, the NBA never goes into a bubble, and I don't think the Lakers win that year. Although Frank Vogel was the head coach, I still don't believe they would have won that year. COVID got them a championship. Because I'm of the mindset that if they were that damn good, why haven't they been back to a final since? Western Conference Final, yeah. But the guy that took you there, you fired him in favor of a guy that had no head coaching experience. So if you were that good, if you were the Lakers and you were that good, why the hell haven't you been back to the finals? Now everybody want to point the finger at Rob Pelinka because they saying he can't put a roster together. He can't keep players. He can't get players to come here. So my question is I'm talking about to Laker fans who just got there when LeBron got there. You point the finger and fire Darvin Ham, even though Darvin Ham was the coach that got you to the Western Conference Finals. You fire him in favor of a guy, JJ Redick, who has no head coaching experience. right? You pointed the finger and pointed the blame at Darvin Ham and said before the season was over that he was going to be out of there after the season, in which he was. So you got him out of there as the head coach, right? But you're not even holding the guy who put the roster together responsible in Rob Pelinka. So how the hell does Rob Pelinka not get any blame for this roster, but you find a way to blame the head coach that has to coach the roster that was put together by Rob Pelinka? That's what I mean by the power and control. Is it too much for a player to have? Because I'm of the mindset that's all LeBron and Clutch Sports over there. There's no way in the hell you can sit here and tell me that Clutch and LeBron ain't got no dealings or they ain't got their hands tied up with the hiring and firing of coaches and the move, the trades and the free agent moves made with this roster. Right? There's no way in hell you can tell me that they had no insight or no knowledge of the Lakers getting Russell Westbrook until they got him. You can't tell me they didn't know that they had no insight of firing Luke Walton. They had no insight of firing Frank Vogel. They had no insight or knowledge of firing Darvin Ham and none of hiring JJ Redick. So if Darvin Ham gets fired for coaching the roster that got you to the Western Conference Finals, you had him on the hot seat and you fired him. How the hell Rob Pelinka, the GM who put the damn team together, ain't on the hot seat to some degree? And then you didn't even upgrade at the coaching position. You downgraded. You drastically downgraded to a guy who has no head coaching experience. That's power. That's too much. Now your franchise is compromised. You have no future. You can't get star players to come over there. You can't even really get free agents to come over there. There's not even stars. Your head coaching has gotten worse. A lot of former Laker players don't like this shit. They just ain't saying nothing about it out loud. They probably talking amongst themselves in the inner circle about how they don't like this shit, but they don't like it. I guarantee they probably saying some of the same shit I'm saying. You just ain't gonna hear about it. Just think about the moves that the Lakers made since LeBron been there. You didn't get you were supposed to get Buddy Hield. It was rumored you're supposed to get him. You didn't get him. So you missed out on him twice because he's now over there in Golden State. You missed out on DeMar DeRozan twice. He's now over there in Sacramento. By the way, both of those guys are in the West now. Both guys coming from the East to the West. One going to Golden State, one going to Sacramento. And you missed out on both of them twice. You went and got Russell Westbrook. That didn't work. Now you got players that are opting into contracts that's making it even harder to make trades because you got guys opting in that don't have any value on the trade market. And guess who gave them contracts? Rob Pelinka. So again, how the hell is he not on the hot seat? Cam Reddish, if I'm not mistaken, opted in, which was smart on his behalf because he doesn't have a trademark. He doesn't have value on the trade market. So why the hell would he opt out knowing that he probably ain't going to get another contract? And if he do, it ain't going to be like the one he getting that he just opted into with the Lakers. But guess who gave him that? Rob Pelinka. So now you got guys opting in that you can't even move because they don't have value. D'Lo opted in. So all this had a hand to do in, well, guess who's the common denominator in all this shit? Every time a move is made, who's the common denominator in it? Every time a move is made, who is the move supposedly made for? It's made for LeBron. So now your franchise is compromised because look at the guys you were supposed to get that you didn't get. You were rumored to get Klay Thompson, you didn't get him. DeMar DeRozan, you didn't get him. Buddy Hield, you didn't get him. Donovan Mitchell, you didn't get him. You still hadn't got a big man, a center yet. You was rumored to go after Brook Lopez, you ain't got him yet. You wanted Trae Young, you ain't got him. You wanted DeJounte Murray, you didn't get him. Now you rumored to go after guys like Gary Trent. That's a dramatic fall off. from wanting to go after a DeJounte Murray or Donovan Mitchell or Trae Young or Klay Thompson to now trying to settle, and you ain't even got Gary Trent yet. That's just who you rumored to go after. So that's probably the type of players you want to settle for now. Why? Because you got guys on your contract, or you got guys that opted into the contract that's now in the final year of their deal this season that have no trade value. So you can't even put a package together to get one of those guys. Even if you wanted to, you couldn't. Them guys off the board now. And I'm on the mindset that you ain't gonna get Trae Young. I don't think there's no way in the hell Atlanta's gonna trade Trae Young over there to LA. I don't think Atlanta's gonna trade their cash cow, especially after them giving up what they gave, giving up Luka to get Trae. They're not gonna do that. Yeah, they saying there ain't no trade market for Trae. Why? All of a sudden, because he ain't on Clutch Sports now, it ain't no trade market for him. But when he was on Clutch Sports, they were all rumored to go after Trae. They were already saying the packages that they were gonna put together that could land them Trae, and they ain't got him yet. But now all of a sudden he don't got no trade value because he's now not a Clutch client no more. Make that make sense. So back to the power that's going on over there in LA, the Lakers, that is. I'm about to get to the Clippers in a second. But just with LeBron and the Lakers, look at all the players you had and what they could have turned, or what they did turn into had you just kept. But once LeBron came over there and wanted AD, you traded all that away to get AD. And you got one bubble chip to show. And like I said, I'm on the mindset to believe that if COVID never happened, you wouldn't have that. But some people say, well, a lot of people say, oh, well, you know, the playing in the bubble was one of the toughest championships that you could win, and it was tougher than people think to win in the bubble. Okay, well, if it was that damn tough to win in the bubble, why the hell haven't you been back to the finals since you've been out the bubble? If it was tougher to win in the bubble, that means it was easier to win not in the bubble. So why the hell haven't you went back to the NBA finals since being out of the bubble? And the one guy that got you to the Western Conference Finals, you fired his ass. All because you had one guy over there that had too much power and control. Now, how you gonna tell me that ain't power and control when you got Rich Paul calling other GMs around the league, threatening them not to take Bronny James because the Lakers were gonna take him at 55th in the second with the 55th pick, and if you did take him before the end, that they were gonna go to Australia. How the hell that ain't power? That's too much. Because see, if I'm another owner of another franchise and Rich Paul called my general manager talking that shit, because see, now you fucking with my ability to make my franchise better. Now I don't mind you having Bronny James. I don't really want him, but I know that you want him bad enough that if I get him, you will trade me something for him. I'm not saying it's gonna be a blockbuster trade, but you would trade me some asset, whether it's a player that you don't want or a pick or whatever, will come in or come back in exchange for Bronny James. That's business. How you gonna call my business and tell me I can't do business? So that's exactly what it is. It's just business. I don't really want Bronny James. I want him because I know you want him and I know you will give me something for him. How is that not business? That's a form of business that people do all the time. And if you don't want him, somebody else will because they know you will probably want it from them. But at the end of the day, I just want to get some more assets back that I didn't have. But you calling my general manager threatening him not to draft him because if you do, he going to Australia. What kind of shit is that? How is it not too much power? You compromising another franchise from getting better in the future. You don't know what that asset may have turned into had they drafted Bronny and then forced the Lakers to trade for him. You don't know what that asset would have, you don't know what that pick would have turned into. You don't know what that young player may have turned into. It may not have turned into nothing in the immediate future, but in the near future, you don't know what that may have turned into. That's business. That's just business. You know what I mean? It was nothing personal, it's just business. So you got that going on over there with with power and control. Then you go to the Clippers. Well, reportedly, Paul George and both Kawhi Leonard, both Kawhi and Paul George were getting special treatments and perks. So what the hell has Paul George and Kawhi Leonard done to receive special perks and treatment? Because first of all, you go in free agency and you sign Kawhi Leonard. I think it was the summer, 2019, summer 2019. You go and sign Kawhi Leonard, and then in that same offseason, you gave up a haul of shit to get Paul George out of OKC. You gave up a MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous, and I understand he wasn't an MVP candidate at that time, but he was a young piece that was growing. He hadn't came along yet, but you can tell he was growing. You give him up in the deal with Gallinari and a shitload of picks that the OKC is still eating off of. To bring in Paul George in that same season, same offseason that you acquired Kawhi Leonard in free agency. So you put that together, combined with the games that they played over there, the amount of games that they should have played that they didn't play versus the game that they actually played. You combine all that together. How the hell does, and I understand Kawhi just came out winning a championship over there in Toronto. I get that. But looking at the fact that how he left San Antonio and ended up in Toronto, what the hell made you think that he wasn't going to try to pull that in LA? See, once a player shows you and does something like that, you got to know and trust and believe that he can, will, and probably try to do that again because he done got away with it. If I can pull this stunt and still make millions of dollars, why wouldn't I try to pull it again and make even more money? Because you know the NBA contracts is only getting bigger. So the same stunt that you pulled 4 years ago or whatever the case may be and got paid millions for, if I can still pull that same stunt and get away with it and make even more money because the contracts are now bigger than what they were 4 years ago, 5 years ago, why wouldn't I do it? You see this? Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were reportedly given personal security guards, trainers, and power over the team's practice schedule. Teammates also believe Leonard and George were able to decide which games they wanted to play in. That's according to The Athletic. According to The Athletic, again, Kawhi Leonard and Paul George both were reportedly given personal security guards, trainers, and power over the team's practice schedule. Teammates also believe Kawhi Leonard and Paul George were able to decide which games they wanted to play, and that again is according to The Athletic. So how the hell is that not power and control over organization? What the hell have both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard done for the Clippers? What the hell have they won for the Clippers? They ain't even played enough games together to have it, in my opinion, to have that kind of power and control. Because see, now you done compromise the future of the Clippers. What the hell can the Clippers do now? The Clippers can't do a damn thing now. They just re-signed James Harden, but James Harden ain't James Harden no more. And I'm going to get to him in a little bit later on. Along with a few other players. So what I'm saying is, if you the LA, and I get it, if they wouldn't do it, then go along with it from a player standpoint. But if you the LA Clippers and you gave up all that to get Paul George and you rolled out the red carpet when you signed Kawhi Leonard, gave him all these perks, what the hell have you gotten in return? Yeah, you increase your attendance. Yeah, you about to go into a new $1 billion arena. But overall, what else did you get? You didn't get enough games played with them two together. Because when Kawhi was healthy playing, Paul George was out. When Paul George was healthy playing, Kawhi was out. Now you got Kawhi Leonard over there on Team USA. Now make this make sense. How the hell he can't be healthy enough to play for you, but all of a sudden he's healthy enough to go out there and play for Team USA? If you Steve Ballmer, you should have shut that shit down. The same way the Golden State was trying to shut down Andrew Wiggins from playing with Team Canada. They should have done that for Kawhi Leonard. You ain't did a damn thing for me. I've been cutting you all these checks. You ain't did a damn thing for me. But now all of a sudden you're healthy enough to go out there and play for Team USA. Can you make that make sense? Then it was also reported that when Lou Will was there and Montrezl Harrell was there, they kind of grew frustrated. Now, I wasn't there. I'm just going by what the rumors and reports were saying at the time, that both Montrezl Harrell and Lou Will were frustrated with the treatment that they were getting. Now, I was told, or I read, I ain't gonna say I was told, I read that there was one incident where they were waiting on the plane because Kawhi Leonard hadn't shown up. They was headed to an away game. They were waiting on the plane for Kawhi Leonard to show up. The plane was late leaving because they had to wait on the plane for Kawhi Leonard to show up. And it was rumored that Lou Will got frustrated with that shit and Montrezl Harrell. Now I'm guessing when they said something, whatever they said kind of got back to the front office. And it's mighty funny that both of them guys were gone after that. The Clippers ended up trading Lou Will to Atlanta in exchange for Rondo. Then Montrezl Harrell, who, by the way, had won a Sixth Man of the Year award, they didn't even offer him a contract to bring him back. He left the Clippers and went across the hall to join the Lakers. Now tell me how the hell that's ironic to happen like that. See, Montrezl Harrell said it was personal leaving the Clippers for the Lakers. They didn't offer me to come back. Why the hell would they offer a former Sixth Man of the Year who played well out there with the LA Clippers? Why wouldn't they offer to bring him back? Could it be because he said something about he didn't probably spoke up about how he didn't like the treatment that Kawhi Leonard was getting along with Paul George? How the hell you getting this kind of treatment and you ain't even available to play? You hurt more than you playing. So how the hell are you getting this type of treatment? Y'all can't even play enough games together to get us where we need to be. That was the whole purpose of putting y'all two together, for y'all to get us where we need to be. But instead, one playing healthy and the other one sitting out hurt. And when the other one playing healthy, the other one sitting out hurt. And it's not like the Clippers didn't have solid role players that could help them get the job done. They had some pretty solid role players over there. They had some pretty solid players over there. Like I said, Montrezl Harrell was over there before they didn't offer him a contract to come back. Lou Will was over there before they moved him to Atlanta. Norman Powell was over there. Robert Covington was over there. Reggie Jackson was over there. Nick Batum was over there. At one point, they had Hartenstein over there. So you had some pretty solid players over there that could help you get it done. They just couldn't get it done because them two couldn't play long enough together. Injuries. But you rolled a red carpet out for them. Look at if you combine the two trades of what they gave up to get James Harden over there, plus the trade and all they gave up to OKC to get Paul George over there, they gave up a shitload of assets to get them two guys over there. And now you look at what happened. You had Paul George in LA as a Clipper. He's now left and walked for nothing over to Philly. You didn't even recoup no assets back in a sign and trade deal for Paul George. You just let him walk over there for nothing. After giving up all that to OKC to get him, you let him leave in free agency for nothing. He leaves the Clippers, walks over to Philly for nothing. Then you got James Harden, who you give up something for, who was over in Philly, and he comes over to LA. The two players is basically swapped. And you gave up a bunch of, combined both of the trades, both the Paul George and the James Harden trade. You combine both of them trades, you gave up a shitload of assets just to swap players. So you probably ain't gonna win nothing with James Harden over there now. Well, you ain't do shit last season with him. I mean, it looked good, but when you put a team like that together, it ain't about just winning regular season games. You got to show up and do what they brought you over there for, to win in the playoffs and get to the finals. That was the job. That was the whole reason for putting Paul George and Kawhi Leonard together. It wasn't to win a bunch of regular season games and flame out in the first round or the second round of the playoffs. It wasn't to put these two guys together so they can half-ass play together. It was to put these two guys together to play together to get us to the NBA Finals. I didn't shell out that many assets to make for Paul George, the OKC, for this type of shit right here in return. I didn't roll out the red carpet for Kawhi Leonard for this in return. So now you just basically chose Kawhi Leonard over Paul George because you let him walk, which is stupid as hell, considering all the shit that you gave up for him. You should have worked out a sign and trade to get something back for him. Now, the future of your franchise is jacked all to hell anyway. So I'm sitting there thinking like, well, why the hell they just didn't do the deal with the Warriors? They didn't want to trade him to the Warriors. I don't give a damn. If the Warriors is going to give me some assets back to help me jumpstart my franchise, then Paul George, you go over there. Because the Clippers ain't winning shit no time soon anyway. So why am I concerned with giving them a player, not even a young player in his 20s? We talking about Paul George is one in his mid 30s. So how long do you think Paul George is going to be in it? Do you think Paul George is going to be in the NBA another 10 years? No. So why the hell am I concerned about sending him over to the Golden State? He can go over to Golden State. I wouldn't give a damn. My concern is getting something back in return to make up for all the assets that I lost to get him in a trade from OKC. I don't give a damn if he does go to the Golden State Warriors. If the Golden State Warriors are going to give me a return of picks, young players, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they did include Kuminga in the deal. If I'm not mistaken, it was Andrew Wiggins, Kuminga, and I think CP may have been in that deal. And a first round pick, if I'm not mistaken. My mind just drew a blank, but I think that was the deal that the LA Clippers didn't want to take. If I'm the Clippers, I'm taking that deal, even though you can't build a team around Andrew Wiggins now, and even if you may not even consider Kuminga as a player that you can build a team around. I mean, you probably wouldn't start building a team around Kuminga. I'm not saying Kuminga can't play, but that's ideally not the player that you probably, if you the Clippers, want to build your team around. He's a nice young piece to have, but to make that the focal point and the building block of building your team around, I don't think you probably would want to do that. Now, keeping him, yes, but making him the actual player to build the team around, no. And I think that's why Golden State was so willing to move off of him for a player like Paul George. I think that they was going for they going for another one. They trying to get another ring before they have to completely blow it up in Golden State. And I don't think they view Kuminga as the type of guy that they can start rebuilding a franchise around. So they are willing to move off of him to get a player that come in and help them win a chip within the next 2 years, which Paul George would have gave them a good chance to do that. So you're not going to build a team around Kuminga, so why keep him? You're going to go into a full-fledged rebuild anyway. So I think that's why they were willing to had him included in the deal. And if you the Clippers, That's a nice player, the young player to have. I don't give a damn what they say. I'm doing the deal. So, but instead, you turn the deal down and he walks in free agency for free and goes to Philly for 4 years, $212 million. See the kind of power and control that Kawhi had over there. And then I think his uncle, whatever was going on, I can't think of the guy's name, but his uncle was had his hands tied up in Kawhi's negotiations, this, that, and the third. I first started hearing about him when Kawhi was in San Antonio, and he was trying to get out of San Antonio, which he ultimately did, and he ended up going to Toronto, somewhere he didn't want to be, because he went there for that season, and after that, he was a free agent and got the hell up out of there, and he wanted to be in LA. So, you know, that's a lot of power and control to have those perks to compromise your team. See what I'm saying? That's what I mean by do NBA players have too much power and control? Because now the Clippers are hindered. What the hell the Clippers gonna do now? And I understand it's not Kawhi's fault that they allowed Paul George to walk for nothing. That's the front office job to get the best possible return on a player and not make that bad of a decision and let a guy like Paul George walk for nothing and turn down a deal in which they could have got some of the assets back that was used to get Paul George. That's not Kawhi's fault. But what I am saying is Kawhi living all the way wherever else, getting helicoptered in. If this is true, had the team waiting on the damn plane as they was getting ready to go to a away game, late taking off, because they had to wait on his ass to get there. Then you lose guys like Montrezl Harrell and Lou Will because allegedly they said something and expressed their frustrations, and whatever they said got back to the front office, and then what do you know? They gone. Like I said, Lou Will traded to Atlanta. Montrezl Harrell, they didn't even offer him a contract to come back, and he was sixth man of the year. How ironic is that? How coincidental is that? Now you done messed up team chemistry. Because now other players probably want to say something, but now they see two players like Montrezl Harrell and Lou Will gone. And Lou Will don't even strike me as a guy that's a troublemaker. He don't strike me as a locker room, a bad locker room guy or a bad teammate. He don't strike me as a cancer on the team. He don't strike me as one of those guys at all. But he's gone. Montrezl Harrell, six man, he's gone. So now you got other guys on the team looking at, well, maybe if I say something, I might be gone, and I ain't trying to do that, you know. So now they being quiet about stuff that they really don't like. Now they playing with an issue that they feel like they can't address and come to the front office and express. And then the guy that's getting his red carpet treatment, his ass ain't even out there. While we out there busting our ass playing these games to win and put out the position ourselves in the playoffs, his ass ain't even out there. But he got all the perks and all. He got so much red carpet rolled out for him. Now I'm of the mindset, and it was stated or reported that I read that Kawhi did want Paul George. So they went out and got Paul George. And look at what they gave up to get Paul George. And now they let a Paul George walk. And I get and understand, like I said, this was fresh off of Kawhi Leonard winning the championship in Toronto, which that's what you thirsty for if you LA Clippers. You ain't want a damn thing. But would you roll out that much of a red carpet for a player like Kawhi Leonard now? Because they still rolling it out for him. They brought him back. They chose him over Paul George. So you still just compromising your team. Then you look at a guy like James Harden, who forced his way out of Houston and wanted to go to Brooklyn. He went to Brooklyn to join KD and Kyrie. They never really played a lot of games together like they should have. Whenever Kyrie and KD was out there, Harden wasn't. Whenever Harden and KD was out there, Kyrie wasn't. Whenever Kyrie and Harden was out there, KD wasn't. So they didn't even play all the games together like they should have. But that's the guy who forced his way out of Houston to Brooklyn. Then once he got to Brooklyn and things didn't go like he thought it was going to go, he wanted to force his way to Philly. The only good thing that came out of that for the Sixers is they got off of Ben Simmons. That's it. And he started to try to flex his power. Showing up to practice with a phone or a towel or whatever it is in practice because he didn't want to be there. Playing the mental health game, and I do understand there's people out there that deal with mental health, and I'm not talking about that. But why the hell were we just not hearing about mental health when all of a sudden he didn't want to be there, and now we're hearing about mental health because he didn't want to be in Philly no more? Y'all catered to a guy, and Ben Simmons I'm talking about now. They catered to a guy who didn't want to get better, who didn't try to get better, who had no desire and aspirations to get better because you paid him and you crowned him before he showed you what he could do. Now, at one point, Ben Simmons showed promise. He was knocking down jump shots. He was facilitating. The offense at one time was going through Ben Simmons. I'm talking about his first couple years in the league. But then he got to the point where he half-assed wanted to add to his game. He didn't want to do it. If you notice, you really don't even see Ben Simmons doing it in the off-season workouts. You don't see him playing no off-season pickup games. You don't see him doing none of that like you see other NBA players do. He don't want to get better. He ain't trying to get better. He ain't got no desire to get better. And then when you try to push him to do better, he pulls some bullshit out because he done got paid. Now, I don't know what the hell he was thinking about in the semis against the Hawks when he passed up a dunk. So maybe the city of Philly got to his confidence. Or maybe the city of Philly, the fan base in Philly got to his head. Because I know they was chewing his ass out after that. Now he don't want to be there. Now he try to force his way out of there after he done got paid. I'm talking about he just had got paid. I think he might have done 1 year on that deal. So I think he had like 4 years left on the deal. And trying to force his way out. After only doing a year on a 5-year deal. With 4 years left. Trying to force his way out. Not showing up to practice. Not showing up to camp. Not willing to work out and add to his game. Want to go and get with his own doctors instead of the team doctors. They pulled every rabbit they could out their hat and did whatever they could for Ben Simmons. And he pulled every rabbit out of his hat to still get his money and not be in Philly. Now, the Sixers tried to play hardball with him until he pulled out the mental health card. Once he pulled out the mental health card, they had to continue to pay him. Philly tried not to pay him from the reports I read, but when he pulled out that mental health card, that reassured his money. And was nothing the Sixers could do because it was mental health related. He didn't want to go to the Sixers team doctors or therapists that they, had for him or whatnot. He wanted to go do his own thing with his own people. So the only good thing that happened to come out of that for Philly was the fact that they moved off of him, but in return they got James Harden, who ended up getting into it with Daryl Morey, and they eventually moved his ass out to the Clippers. Now him and Daryl Morey was boys. Now it was reported that he tried to get James Harden over there before James Harden got traded to Brooklyn, but it just didn't work out. But after he got the James Harden got traded over there to Brooklyn, gained all that damn weight, forced his way out of there. I mean, he was up there in the layup line looking like a lineman, an offensive lineman. He didn't do a damn thing once he left Brooklyn and went to Philly. He ain't did a damn thing in Philly. The only thing that came out of that good for Philly was the fact that they was able to get off of Ben Simmons and send him somewhere where they no longer had to deal with his ass. That's the only good thing that happened to Philly in that whole situation. They brought in James Harden, who ain't did a damn thing for him, He looked good when he first got there, but like I said, when you make these type of moves with these type of organizations, winning regular season games ain't the point. The point is to get these guys to help you get over the hump, in which the Sixers still ain't, because they got knocked out in the first round this year by the Knicks, so they still ain't able to get over their hump. So adding James Harden didn't do a damn thing for him. He went out there and looked like complete shit against the Boston Celtics. Wasn't shooting, and when he was shooting, wasn't hitting shit. But then had the nerve to want to go at it with Daryl Morey about money. Now I get it. Him and Daryl Morey was bored, and I'm of the mindset that Daryl Morey was going to give him the money. But I think ownership stepped in and said, don't pay James Harden. Because James Harden ain't playing like the type of money that he's worthy that he's asking for. So don't pay him. They had already been through that situation with Ben Simmons, and they wasn't about to go back down that same road with James Harden. They learned from the Ben Simmons situation not to do that same shit again with James Harden, and they didn't. So as a result of that, James Harden fell out with Daryl Morey. So now him and Daryl Morey ain't seeing eye to eye, or wasn't seeing eye to eye. So now he want to force his way out of Philly and say he want to go to the Clippers. You see what I'm saying? Do these players have too much control? What the hell did James Harden do for Brooklyn while he was there? He didn't do a damn thing. Then you look at guys like KD, who end up getting traded out of Brooklyn after he didn't want to be there, and ended up over there in Phoenix. And they ain't did a damn thing over there in Phoenix. Then you got Bradley Beal with a no trade clause. How the hell of all players, and I'm not talking bad about Bradley Beal, but if you think about a no trade clause, you wouldn't think that Bradley Beal would be a player to have one. But now he over there in Brooklyn. And so now Brooklyn is not Brooklyn, but he's over there in Phoenix. Phoenix is now compromised. So what the hell are they going to do? Run it back with Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and KD? They still got to address the point guard issue over there. They still need a solid big over there. I think Nurkic is still over there. But they still don't have a point guard. Budenholzer is the coach over there. He has a defensive identity as a head coach. Bradley Beal doesn't strike me as a defensive type of guy that fits into what Mike Budenholzer does. And to me, they got two of the same players. Bradley Beal and Devin Booker are two of the exact caliber players. So you got that going on over there. That's the examples of what I mean by do these players have too much power and control. Because Bradley Beal, when he was in Washington, now I'm of the mindset that the Washington Wizards probably did want to move Bradley Beal because he had an injury history over there too. But by him having a no trade clause in his contract, anytime they tried to put him in a trade offer, he could decline the trade offer because he had a no trade clause. If that wasn't a destination he wanted to be, he could say no, and that the deal would go through because he had a no trade clause. So you sitting over there with Bradley Beal on your roster, paying him all that damn money, and he having an injury history, and you trying to move him, and he don't want to be moved to where you trying to move him to. It's compromising the franchise to some degree. Now, who the hell gave Bradley Beal a no trade clause? Now I get it. The player is looking at the franchise saying, well, now you got to do your job. It's not my job to do your job. You got to do your job. I get that part of it. But how the hell does Bradley Beal get a no trade clause? Then you got a situation over there with Milwaukee. Giannis and his brother, Thanasis, if that's how you pronounce his name, holding up a damn roster spot. They can't get better because they got his brother on the roster. They cannot get better and bring in another player because his brother is holding up a roster spot. Now, do you think the Milwaukee Bucks actually want Giannis' brother on the roster? They could use that roster spot for a better player. But the only reason he's on the roster is because Giannis is on the team. He's holding up a roster spot. They can't get better. He has no trade value. Tell me a team that wants to trade for Giannis' brother. Tell me one. The worst team in the league don't want Giannis' brother. But yet, he's on the Milwaukee Bucks roster. Everybody done seen highlights of him play. He can't play. But yeah, he's on the Milwaukee Bucks roster. Why? Because Giannis, the superstar player over there, is controlling the cards when it comes to that. You can't trade or waive the Nassus as long as Giannis over there. He's holding up a roster spot. Now I get and understand you drafted Giannis and you probably ain't gonna get another marquee free agent to come in there. If you try to get the Nassus off the roster, or whatever, you probably gonna lose Giannis. But you got your championship. Now, what you think? What else gonna show from? What else that Milwaukee gonna show from that? Because the coach that got the championship over there with him, he gone. They hired Adrian Griffin, he gone. So now I'm of the mindset to believe that Giannis didn't like Adrian Griffin. Why else the hell would the Milwaukee Bucks fire Adrian Griffin when I think the Milwaukee Bucks at the time were a top 2 seed in the East, and I think they had the second best record at the time in the league. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think they were top 2 in the top 2 or top 3 in the East. I think they were top 2 in the East behind Boston. They had the second best record in the league at the time behind Boston. But yet they fire Adrian Griffin. Why the hell would they fire Adrian Griffin? That's Giannis. Not only do you got your brother on the team holding up a damn roster spot, but now you on the hook for paying 3 coaches. Well, 2, because Budenholzer just took the coach's position over there in Phoenix. You were on the hook for paying 3 coaches. You were on the hook for paying Budenholzer, Adrian Griffin, and now Doc Rivers. But since Budenholzer is now over there in Phoenix, you're still on the hook for paying Adrian Griffin, and now you're paying Doc Rivers. You can't even get better because your brother is holding up a damn roster spot. And I get and understand Doc Rivers came in after the season started, and he didn't have his guys, his assistants, and his guys on his staff. You know, he didn't go through free agency, he didn't go through the draft, he didn't go through none of this stuff. He just came in after the season started and had to take over whatever was already there in place. And they still made the playoffs because they had a damn good start with Adrian Griffin as their head coach. Now they hit a rough patch when they brought Doc Rivers in. They started losing games, but they had such a damn good start with Adrian Griffin as their coach that the games that they lost, it really didn't matter because they had already had such a hot start to the season and had won so many games that they can afford to lose some games and still be in playoff contention. But the fact still remains that you got a lot of shit that got to go through Giannis over there. Now they brought Middleton back. Chris Middleton ain't been the same. Idris got a lot to do with that. He ain't been the same. Giannis' brother still hold up the damn spot. So as a result, you got bounced out by the Pacers. And to the Pacers' defense, the Pacers was beating the Bucks during the regular season when Giannis was healthy. They just seem to have their number. You know what I mean? They just seem to have their number during the season. So we can't even say that the injury to Giannis was the reason they lost. The Indiana Pacers was already beating the Milwaukee Bucks during their regular season battles. But guess what? You didn't even have another player, and I get that you didn't even have another player that could step up in the absence of Giannis and help him, because you still got Giannis' brother on the roster, taking up a roster spot that they can't get better at. Now I get it. You probably looking at the fact that, well, it's Milwaukee, we can't get marquee free agents, and well, if you in a market like Milwaukee, that's why you got to have a good GM and a good front office so you can draft well. But that still don't got nothing to do with the fact that Giannis' brother is over there in Milwaukee and he taking up a roster spot. They can't even get rid of his ass because that ain't what Giannis want. They can't get rid of him. He taking up a roster spot that they could use to get better. That's power. He's holding up. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. A lot of these players have a lot of power that's compromising these franchises. You know what I mean? They giving these players, they give it, not all players, but they giving players. Once you give a player that much power, a lot of times it never really goes the way you think it's gonna go. Like I said, look at the Lakers situation over there. Their future is shot to hell. They have no future. They and I don't even think I'm gonna go on the record to say this. I don't think LeBron James is gonna win another ring before he retires. So they did all that for what? Because it ain't to win. You rolled out the red carpet for Kawhi. He ain't did a damn thing for you over there, but collect checks. You rolled out the red carpet and did all that for James Harden to get from Houston to Brooklyn, from Brooklyn to Philly, and Philly to LA. And what has he done? Not a damn thing. But collect checks and eat cheesesteaks when he got over to Philly. He wanted to be out of Brooklyn he wanted to be out of Houston so bad and get to Brooklyn. That didn't work. He wanted out of Brooklyn to get to Philly so bad. That didn't work. Now he over there in LA. Then it ain't working. You got Giannis' brother up there in Milwaukee. They can't even get better because, like I said, he holding up a damn roster spot. They can't even ask Giannis about it because he know his brother holding up a roster spot. So they ain't but so much better they can get when you got a player over there that's your brother holding up a roster spot and he ain't doing a damn thing but making Shaq in the food reels. That's what he doing over there. He got more bad highlights than he got good ones. The only time you see his brother in the game is two, well, three if you want to include injuries and he got to get bumped up in the rotation some kind of way. But the only time you see his brother in the game is if they beating the hell out of somebody by 20 with less than 3 or 4 minutes left in the game, or if they getting the hell beat out of them by 20 with 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. He'll get in the game then, and he'll still find a way to give you some Shaq in the food, stupid ass moments. But you can't even move him because that's who Giannis wants. You can't even get better because he's taking up a roster spot because that's who Giannis wants. He pretty much got the franchise hostage as long as he on the contract over there. Yeah, they made the trade to go and get Dame Lillard, but they brought back an injury-prone Chris Middleton. That's not helping them, especially seeing what Boston just did. Boston just won the chip. Looking at what the Knicks just added. Looking at what Philly just added. And then you got teams like Miami who don't really do a whole lot of free agents, but somehow they end up being a problem in the playoffs. Then you got the young up and coming teams like the Orlando Magic. They up and coming. Cleveland, even though they just had a coaching change, no telling what else they gonna do. But they were in the playoffs last year. Indiana, nobody's talking about Indiana, but they beat Milwaukee last year in the playoffs, and they would beat Milwaukee in the regular season. But you can't get better because you got a guy with no trade value on your roster and Giannis' brother, Thanasis. And if you the Lakers, you can't get no better because the biggest thing over there is drafting Bronny over to getting Bronny over there, which they did, and giving him a guaranteed contract so he can play with his daddy. It ain't even about winning over there no more. That franchise then went all the way to straight entertainment. It ain't winning, ain't even at the top of the priority list over there with the LA Lakers. It's straight entertainment and profit. That's it. All because you done gave LeBron and Clutch Sports the power over there. You ain't want a damn thing if you the Clippers, because you gave power to Kawhi, and he done been out more than he been in. And as a result of that, you done let a Paul George, who you traded all that to OKC to get, walk all the way to Philly, 4 years, $212 million. You turning down deals that could help you recoup some of the assets just to let him walk to the Sixers. Then you gave up assets to get James Harden from the Sixers. But you went and got Paul George because that's who Kawhi Leonard wanted. And they couldn't even play together. Now you let the guy go walking free agency for nothing. But you roll the red carpet right. Well, both of them got red carpet treatment, but you still giving the red carpet treatment to Kawhi. And he been out more than he been in. Now he over there with Team USA. All of a sudden he can play for Team USA and couldn't do a damn thing for you. Then when guys speak up, allegedly spoke up, like Lou Will and Montrezl Harrell, they ain't over there no more. Lou Will traded to Atlanta. Montrezl Harrell, they ain't even offered this man a contract to come back after he was Sixth Man of the Year. Make it make sense. Lou Will, Sixth Man of the Year candidate in awards. And how the hell you move him? Because he say something about the red carpet treatment that you rolling out for players, and it's hurting the team, but you moving these two guys. Make it make sense. Ben Simmons ain't trying to get better. Got his money, and now he don't want to be in Philly no more. Forced his way out with, I think, 4 years left on the deal. Showing up to practice with a phone and all this shit in his pocket. Don't want to do certain drills or towel or whatever they say he had in his pocket. Showing up with his damn jersey on backwards and all this other kind of shit. Half-ass doing the drills like he don't want to be there and got his ass sent home. Then when they start talking about he ain't going to be able to get paid because he ain't participating and showing up this, that, and third, now he want to pull out the mental health card. Rolling out the red carpet for guys who won't do a damn thing for you. James Harden. Eating. In the layup line looking like a damn offensive lineman. But somehow won out of Houston. Get to Brooklyn where he want to be. Don't do a damn thing over there. But hold the back of his damn hamstring. Putting on weight. Can't get it off. Then when he finally get it off, he won't even want to be there no more. So he want to go to Philly and eat some more. He ain't did a damn thing over there in Philly but collect checks and eat cheesesteaks. The only good thing, like I said, that came out of that for Philly was the fact that they got rid of Ben Simmons. But they brought in another guy who didn't want to be there either. Eventually didn't want to be there and moved him. Got into it with Daryl Morey. And didn't do a damn thing worthy of getting the type of money he was looking to get. Went out there and looked like absolute shit against the Boston Celtics. This shit is disgusting, man. A lot of, I'm not talking about all players, but a lot of these players is getting the treatment, and it's compromising these franchises' future. Philly in the same damn spot that they've been in, still trying to get out the second round. The Clippers still don't have a damn, still ain't got to the finals. You're looking at the Lakers, they don't have a future. Don't have a future at all because they done got rid of it for AD. Won the bubble chip. Like I said, I'm of the mindset, and I done said this several times, but I say it again, I don't think they would have won it if it weren't for COVID. If it was that hard to win a chip in the bubble, why the hell they ain't been back to the final since being out the bubble? So you basically telling me it was harder to win it in the bubble, but it's easier to win it when you're not in the bubble. So why the hell you ain't been back since you've been out the bubble? And the guy that got you close to it, you fired him for a guy who ain't got not one game of coaching experience. He ain't even got a fucking summer league game under his resume, but you hired him and you in win now mode. You can't get players to come over there. You can't get people to do deals with you. Because I'm of the mindset, I don't think people like the way Rich Paul handled the Bronny James drafting situation, calling these other teams, threatening them not to draft Bronny or else he going to Australia. I don't think a lot of people like the way that was handled. And he went about that. So you know what? They ain't going to help the Lakers. Ain't no free agents coming over there because they know who's going to get the blame when shit don't go right. You want me to come over there. You want me to come over there. Then when I come over there and the season don't go like you think it should go, you pointing the finger at me, nah, I'll go sign somewhere else where I ain't got to deal with this shit. And that's exactly what a lot of these free agents do. They ain't choosing the Lakers. And a lot of teams don't even want the package that the Lakers trying to put together to trade for a player. So now you can't even get free agents to come over there to help you win. You got to rely on the draft. And you don't have a lot of draft picks to work with because you traded all of them along with your future young assets away for Anthony Davis. And then you hire a coach that Anthony Davis reportedly didn't even want. And that's supposed to be your future of your team. So you got all that going on. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Lakers going to give me so much content to talk about this year, they ain't going to be funny. It's going to be it's going to be a circus over there. That's exactly what it's going to be. A circus. Then, like you said, you got Paul George who left OKC and went to the Clippers. He didn't want to request a trade until Kawhi got over there and Kawhi wanted him. Now he want to request a trade out of there. So, you know, the only people that really came up off of that was OKC. And OKC took Sam Press, they took full advantage of it. You want Paul George? Okay, we want this. And because the Clippers hadn't already rolled out the red carpet for Kawhi, why not take advantage of it if you OKC? And they did. We want all this because I know you got a guy over there that you done already rolled the red carpet out for, did X, Y, and Z. Now you got to do what he wants because that was the whole that was part of the reason you got him. Because the Clippers wasn't the only team that was in LA. You also had the Lakers. And if you're a Clipper and you end up with him and you rolled out the red carpet to get him, now you got to go ahead and do everything else that he won't done because you done rolled out the red carpet to get him. And, you know, like I said, we talking about the players having all this power and control. And if you didn't roll out the red carpet, all he had to do was force his way out of LA. Like I said, it was another team across the hall, purple and gold. The Clippers ain't the only team in LA. So with the power control these players getting, he probably could have forced his way over there. Then LeBron over there. So you know they could have made that happen. They already got the Lakers by the nuts anyway. So, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of this comes with a lot of consequences that you don't really want. You don't have assets if you the Clippers. You ain't winning shit. It's just a bad look. It's just terrible. There's a lot of shit going on right now when you give a lot of players. I'm not saying don't give a player any power, but I'm saying too much power and control. Because when you give them too much power and control, you compromise the future of your team. You looking back at what your team could have been had you not done this, or had you not done that, or had you done this, or had you done that you didn't do. And it ain't nothing you can do at that point. Because you're going to be stripped down and left with nothing, and you have to start completely over from scratch. You gonna have to rebuild all the way from the ground up. Meanwhile, other teams is getting better, who position themselves better. And you really don't have shit to show for it. Nothing. The Clippers ain't got nothing to show for it. The Sixers ain't got nothing to show for it. Nothing. But let me get out of here, man. That was just episode 5, man. Players having too much power and control. Like, share, comment on the video. Tell me what you think. Like I said, man, follow me on social media platforms. If you want to follow my personal page, on Instagram is Ralph_Sneaks with a Z. And the sports page is damn_YouTube_sports talk. And if you're on Twitter or X, whichever one you call it, it's damn YouTube sports talk. Like I said, shout out to AIG Productions for helping me put this together. Like, share, comment, subscribe so you can get all the notifications when I drop content. Like, share, comment, and tell me what y'all think, man. Peace.